On the last episode, we witnessed the glory of the Shang Dynasty. But even the mightiest empire must eventually face its twilight. The end of an era is often a baptism of blood and fire. Today, we cast our eyes back to the winter of 1046 BC. This was a fearful year for the ancient East. Meanwhile, in the distant West, Ramses II of Egypt was in the final years of his reign. The once brilliant empire was slowly fading. But in the central plains of the East, a storm that would shape the next 3,000 years of Chinese civilization was quietly brewing. The last monarch of Shang, Di, known to history as King Zhou, was brilliant and strong enough to lift a heavy tripod. But he misused his gifts on endless wars and debauchery. He sent his elite armies to the east to conquer the Dongyi tribes, leaving his capital, Kayach, like an empty fortress with its gates wide open. Meanwhile, beneath Kishan Mountain in the west, a tribe named Zhou had been gathering strength for generations. Their leader was the young King Muye, Zhu. He stood at the crossroads of destiny. Behind him were 800 lords eager for change. Before him stood the seemingly invincible Shang Dynasty. A decisive battle was inevitable. On a cold winter morning in 1046 BC, King Wu delivered his famous oath of Muye. Declaring he was executing heaven's punishment, King Zhou hastily armed 170,000 slaves and prisoners to meet him. But the moment the battle began, a dramatic event unfolded. Historical records say the Shang vanguard turned their weapons around, opening a path for the Zhou army. The massive army collapsed in an instant. This was not a contest of strength, but a judgment of the people's will. Seeing all was lost, King Zhou fled back to Kayach and burned himself to death on the Deer Terrace. The dynasty that had lasted nearly 600 years collapsed with a thunderous crash. King Wu had ended an era, replacing the mighty Shang with a small tribe posed a huge question: why us? King Wu and the Duke of Zhou gave an answer that would influence China for 3 millennia: the mandate of heaven. The power to rule did not come from bloodline or violence, but was granted by heaven. Here, this concept was a giant leap in political thought. It meant a monarch was not a monarch forever. His rule was conditional, based on virtue. If a monarch became a tyrant, the mandate would shift. This idea predated the Western theory of the divine right of kings by over 1,000 years, with a completely different meaning. The mandate of heaven became a sword of Damocles hanging over every Chinese emperor. It taught future generations, he who wins the hearts of the people wins the world. As the inscription on his own vessel reveals, King Wu intended to rule from the center of the land, the earliest origin of the word China, Zhong word. Having solved why we can rule, the next question was how. King Wu implemented the feudal system. He infected land and people to his clan, and meritorious officials like granting Zhangxia the state of Chang, and his brother the Duke of Zhou the state of Liu. These states were like nails, firmly hammering Zhou's influence into the land. To consolidate this, the Zhou established the patriarchal clan system and the ritual and music system. Using blood ties as a bond, they defined the hierarchy. The Duke of Zhou instituted rituals to distinguish status, and music to harmonize relationships. This civilization of ritual and music became the core characteristic of Chinese culture. This isomorphism of family and state perfectly combined political loyalty with familial piety. The Zhou dynasty was not just a government, but an enlarged family. This unique governance model injected the genes of stability and order into Chinese civilization. As King Wu established a new order in the east, what was happening elsewhere? On the shores of the Yiji, the legendary Trojan War might have just ended, closing the Greek heroic age. A Western civilization emphasizing the individual and reason, and an Eastern civilization emphasizing the collective and ethics, began to walk to completely different paths. The foundation laid by King Wu was not a permanent solution. The feudal system brought stability, but also planted the seeds of division. As blood ties faded with time, where would these feudal states go? Subscribe to the Middle Kingdom Chronicles. In the next episode, we enter an era of explosive thought, and here is the spring and autumn and Warren States periods.